Hey there, Wargamers, Justin our page here. Today, we're going to talk about some Battletech. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the channel here. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I really do appreciate it. If you're new here, hit that like and subscribe. But what is it we're going to talk about today? So I haven't had time to take proper photos of this, and I've talked about it a little bit with my description of my experience at Southern Assault, but I wanted to show you guys my Wolf's Dragoons display that I brought to Southern Assault. Talk about what it is that I did, my placing for the painting competition, and just give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of what I've got here before I'm able to take some polished photos. Alright guys, so this is my display for my Wolf's Dragoons from Southern Assault 2022. And if you watched my video that was talking about my list building, you are aware of what I've got here. If you missed that or you just need a refresher, we'll go down the miniatures real quick. So I've got two fire moths here. These were my battle armor deployment systems. We've got our Storm Wolf here in the front. We've got our Mad Dog Mark IV. We've got our Savage Wolf, so it's a Mad Cat Mark IV as well, if I recall. We've got the Timberwolf Premium model from Catalyst. We've got a Tundra Wolf in the back and a Dominator in the back as well. In my list, I also had a couple of battle armor. These are substituting in for the Cuchulainn or Chukulainn or something like that. These aren't my favorite minis. I painted up something for the event so they had them, but I don't think these look that cool. We have some new minis that will be coming out from Deathra Designs. That'll be a good proxy for that unit. They are not out yet, but keep your eyes peeled. I believe that unit's going to be called the Rostam, and that's going to be replacing these in my list. So what do we have here in terms of what I've designed? So compared to last year, I wanted to have a display board that I put together for my minis here. So the sides here are MDF. You'll notice a little bit of a battery here and a light switch, a power switch. We'll flip that on so when it turns around you'll see the difference. But wanted something that looked a little bit nicer. So MDF on the sides, foam, insulation foam on the insides here, and then a bunch of basing material. The terrain on the back here, if you have seen me talk about anything, you'll notice whoosh, that guy right there. Boop, boop. That is one of my terrain pieces I've designed, and I worked it into the display, and now you can see the cool LEDs that were installed here that light up. So, small little thing. I like how it casts a little bit of light down on the minis. So this was partly done to have models for a list, which is why I have the Fire Moths. They're not my favorite units. I think they're kind of derpy looking for me personally. We've got these painted up. And some of you may have seen these and some of these in the Game with Joe, the battle report, when we were trying to get a campaign started, but we're not able to get the additional games filmed. Story of my life. As of filming this, I have some tentative time set aside to film with Bob or John Tatro, however you may know him from Southern Assault. We'll see if that happens. Hopefully I'll be able to get those games in before the end of the year so that you guys have some more content. This one is also it's kind of an anomaly. People miss the jet or the jump jet engines, which I spent time painting. You never see them because when you're looking down this way, I guess you see that foot a little bit, but not the rear ones. But I had a lot of fun painting this guy. Really love the barrel. The canopy turned out really well. One of my least favorite models from the set, aside from the Fire Moths, is probably the Mad Dog. I like it in concept. I find it to be a little top-heavy and odd. Also, because it's pewter, I'm worried about breaking it. But I do like it. It's very cool. Probably the highlight on it is probably the little bit of freehand here on the hazard stripes, which I did. Moving right along here behind the Mad Dog there, we've got the Dominator. He looks subtly different than the other fellows because he was painted before them. So he's a little older, but still like him. Moirata Karinsky, you shall not be forgotten. And then we've got the Savage Wolf here. One of my favorites. The canopy turned out so good on that. I don't get too excited about my minis very often, but I really like how that turned out. I still need to take photos of these for camo specs to submit, and I've been working on getting some new models painted so that I can have another entry or another set of entries for them and see how we fare. But these will be my Wolf's Dragoons entry, or at least some of them will make it. In the back, we've got the Tundra Wolf. This was my test mini for the canopy here. Canopy's got the kind of green into blue going on. The Wolf's Dragoon symbols. A little bit derpy of a model, but one of my favorites from the Dark Age era. Really like that mini. And then in the back here, we've got the premium Timberwolf from Catalyst. I really like how his canopy turned out. I think that's very good. Let's see if I can get a little close up on it. I'm not sure if... there we go. I was concerned I might lose focus. I think he turned out really good. I also got questions about the kill marks on his arm. Those are decals that Death Design sells. We cannot sell officially licensed decals, though we have been trying to work on an agreement with Catalyst to be able to do that, because we can fulfill the demand 110%. If you're interested in getting official decals produced, or not produced, picking up official decals rather, and are having a hard time getting them because Ares or Fortress don't have them in stock, or Fighting Piranha is slow, I highly encourage you to reach out to Catalyst and tell them that you're interested in being able to pick them up from another source. We can 100% do this. I've been trying so hard for several years to work with Catalyst to be able to produce something for Battletech for them. And when it comes to decals, it's really easy. We are set up to do it. We have the equipment, and we can definitely meet the demand. So anyone that emails and asks us if we're going to do the official houses or the clans and stuff like that, I have to tell them we can't. We do not have the agreement to produce the copyrighted material, and I tell them to just tell Catalyst, tell them you'd like to see it, and if enough people start screaming, maybe we'll get a deal, maybe we won't, but we're set up to do it. So anyway, back to this guy. I really liked how he turned out. I also like the little parts up here at the top on his, I don't know, SRMs or ATMs or whatever those are, probably SRM6s. That was a different lens effect that's kind of in the kind of goldeny look, which I thought was cool. And I really like just this pose in general. Oh, and I forgot, he's got his little jump thrusters. He's a fast boy. Oh, just slam on that guy, not paying attention. But yeah, I thought that turned out pretty cool. And yeah, right there, here's my Timberwolf, the premium. So, all in all, the display did not take me long to do. I think it's better than my entry last year for Southern Assault. I wanted to have a better display board that looked cooler versus what I had last year. So I did not take first place for painting. I lost by a couple of points. The gentleman who won, he had considerable freehand on his stuff, and that gave him the extra points to tip over. I ended up getting best hobbyist. But on Bobby's list, if you that he posts online for the rankings, if you happen to check that out on his Facebook and then look at the breakdown for painted scoring, you'll see I think I got 60 points, which was the second highest, and then I think it's Dustin got 63, I think, and then one category that was a major difference was the freehand. But his stuff looked really, really good. But the way that Bobby did pricing is that if you got one of the big trophies, you were in general not eligible for a secondary one. So I got best hobbyist. So if you're curious, that stuff was posted. But yeah, I really like how this turned out. I am very fortunate to work where I do, to have access to laser cutters so I can design my own terrain stuff to do. I think this is not over the top and relatively subtle. I also designed this with the parameters that I was given for Nova. Theirs is a 10 by 10. For dioramas, can't be bigger, so I built this on a 10 by 10. I wanted this to be a decent backdrop for my minis, but these need to be the focus. And my thought process was that I wanted to have a little bit of a story. So these guys are kind of coming out of this bay, this door, to meet a threat. Maybe part of the fortress has been bombed. That's why I had one of these, wanted this to come out to the side, right? Also added these little rivets, which are not on the standard MDF stuff. These are 3D bits. But I wanted to give you the effect of like this is a bombed fortress that's being attacked, and these mechs are coming out to meet the threat. The premium Timberwolf here being in the middle, like the leader, which is what he was, makes sense to me. And they're fanning out, right? Just coming out. The fast mechs in the front coming out to meet the threat. The big heavy guys posting up to overwatch and fire, and then the Dominator looking for a spot to jump and shoot, and then Thunderwolf providing some form of overwatch or command structure, something like that. So a little bit of a story. I wanted an excuse to use the Stormwolf too. This model is absolutely badass in my opinion. It looks cool. It's very expensive points-wise to field, but don't sleep on them. If your army has access to it, you want to try it out. It's got AMS, anti-missile system, and RFA, which is reflective armor, I think. It's either reflective or refractive. There's two different ones, but he's got the one that reduces energy damage. And before I get too far down that rabbit hole, AMS reduces IF, SRM, LRM, any mechs equipped with that by 1 point of damage. And then his RFA ability reduces all forms of damage by a minimum of 1, aside from artillery. And if it's energy, it cuts it in half. So if he's being shot by a non-energy weapon, always reduces by 1 from RFA. And if he's got, if the target that's shooting at him has LRM, SRM, IF, anything like that, AMS kicks in. So -1 for AMS, -1 for RFA. This guy actually soaked up so many shots. He was really good for scoring objectives. And all the negatives that come with his ability, they took out. They FAQ'd those out or ratted them out. He used to take double damage from melee hits and used to take +2 to critical hit rolls, so a 10 would count as a 12 and take him out. They've taken that away. The only thing that still impacts him, as far as I'm aware, is artillery, where he'll take double damage from that. So this guy was a sleeper, and I really liked him. Model looks good. All in all, pretty happy with the Force. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you have any thoughts, concerns, questions, sound off in the comments below, as always. And yeah. If you guys haven't come out to Southern Assault in 2021 or 2022, highly encourage you to. You'll be able to see my display board that whatever I work on next year, as well as others who are painting and enjoy some cool games. If you have any questions about what I've done here, anything you want to share, sound off in the comments below. I'd love to get a chat going and see what you guys have to say. And on that note, guys, that's going to conclude my my rough breakdown of what I've got here. I kind of got off on a tangent, as I do, talking about the forces, what they do, why I picked what I picked, things of that nature. But I really did enjoy this. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to design something to try and take to Southern Assault and step my game up over what I used last year, because that was kind of just a little square board with good-looking mechs. I think if I did a display board with my Beta Galaxy from last year, it'd probably look better than these, which might be tough. The canopies on these look pretty good. That's tough for me to choose, because like I like my Beta Galaxy, but Wolf's Dragoons got a place in my heart, a special place. So, with that being said, you guys are used to it. If you're hanging out here, you're used to me rambling, and I do that plenty enough. If you're new here, hit that like, subscribe button. If you want to help support what I do, check the links in the description below. Support in Death Through Designs helps support me and helps allow me to continue to try and do some filming. And if you want to pick up anything Battletech at all, check out Fortress Miniatures and Games. On that note, folks, thank you guys again for hanging out with me today. As always, keep painting those models, keep rolling those dice, and I'll catch you guys next time.